SkyCal Newsroom, I'm Mike Rogers here at the desk. We're popping into programming right now to let you know about these protests that are continuing in downtown LA. The reason we are coming on right now is because the protesters have begun to enter the freeway. Desmond Shaw live in SkyCal. Des, moments ago, both sides of the 101 were stopped. It does look like we are starting to clear out, at least in this area. It is one of two spots that we're worried about.
Yeah, so, Mike, right here, I just want to show you here off of the 101 of Cesar Chavez, right here off of Las Vegas Street, this little cul-de-sac right here. There's unfortunately very easy access for these protesters, and they knew about that, and they came down and got on lanes of the freeway. So LAPD responded immediately. They had a bunch of units come in here and get some folks off of the freeway here, and now they've reopened the left lane. There was a huge cadre of CHP that came southbound here. They had momentarily blocked all southbound lanes as well, just kind of sweeping the area, making sure there was nobody on the roadway. So still a law enforcement presence here. I believe this was the group that we were showing you that was leaving downtown on eastbound on the First Street Bridge, and then it looks like this was their intention to come out of downtown and then come over to this area where LAPD has not really had much of a law enforcement presence. They had all of the on and off ramps blocked all around downtown along the 101 at Alameda, Los Angeles, Maine, and all that. But down here, south of the 10, on this section of the 101, they did not have any of the ramps blocked. And again, there's like no fence from that little cul-de-sac off of Las Vegas Street that was letting protesters get on the freeway. So we'll see if they're finally going to disperse or if they have any more plans to do anything like this. There was another group of protesters in downtown that LAPD was talking about getting ready to arrest because they were not dispersing. A lot of the protesters have began to scatter. If they still have plans of protesting throughout the evening, it's not clear, but they have at least managed to get them off the freeway here, northbound 101 at Cesar Chavez, Mike.
Yeah, and Des, as we continue to talk, I want to ask if you can start to move your way back over to that other location where they were worried about. So this is what, kind of happens, right, when we start to do these unlawful assemblies, they push people out. While during the protests, you've got the group kind of centered in one spot, but when they start to do all this clearing out, that's when the groups start to splinter. And yes, the majority of the protesters are gone, but you get these smaller groups that can kind of fashion off, and they get over to like that area where Desmond was just talking about to get on the freeway. We also heard from LAPD. They're concerned that kind of near the Alameda area, the protesters may get on the freeway. Now, the good news is that LAPD was able to reposition to block the off-ramps to prevent that from happening. That was a big concern of theirs. Unlike yesterday, the freeways were shut down for hours as the protesters were able to access it. Today, LAPD took a different tactical measure, and they made it so that the protesters, as we look at them right there, the protesters were not able to access the on or off ramps, at least not in the immediate area, but we saw them able to so easily do that further down on the 101. Des, it looks like all of the areas in this area, as we were near the federal building, are still shut down on the freeway. The off ramps doesn't look like there's anybody on there, but you've got this group still kind of milling about over here.
Yes, and we'll see what they're going to do, because the last time we saw the group go south on Alameda, they went east on First Street, and then some of them just did what we were showing you, where they got on the freeway over at Cesar Chavez. And of course, that is where the authorities really draw the line with these protests. Right. They've really exercised a lot of restraint all throughout the afternoon, even though some of the protesters were getting in LAPD's faces at times. But, it's gone on for a very long time. It's tied up a lot of traffic. There was a small group of protesters over here off of Main Street that I think LAPD was talking about. There might be a few down here that they may just be, that they have run out of patience, and they're talking about potentially arresting them because they have given a dispersal order on this one. So clearing out of here, but like you said, Mike, when you start to get these protesters kind of really milling about all over the place and breaking off, all it takes is a couple of people to get on a freeway and cause a very dangerous situation. So it's going to be difficult for LAPD, but they do have their helicopters up here, a lot of coordination, trying to move resources around where they think they need them. So this last group that was gathered near the kind of epicenter of today's protest at Main and the 101, now moving southbound on Alameda, kind of on the edge of Little Tokyo in the Arts District, Mike.
Yeah, and Desmond, you mentioned the unlawful assembly order that was given. I called LAPD, as our viewers look at on the right side of their screen is live pictures from the ground of the very active protest. That unlawful assembly order was given at 4:45 this afternoon. So we are now obviously a couple of hours since that unlawful assembly order has been given. Basically, what the unlawful assembly order does is allows law enforcement to make arrests for failure to disperse. That is the technical language of the arrest that they would make. We've seen that before in protests where they come in, they'll use the plastic handcuffs and the zip ties, if you will, and take them into custody. So far, the LAPD has not done that, even though the dispersal order was given, a couple of hours ago. At this point, the LAPD has been working and listening to them on the radio to just try and push people out of the area. You heard our Amanda Starantino a little bit earlier tonight talking about how people have said that they weren't going to leave, and many of them were willing to get arrested. As you see another helicopter fly through the shot, the LAPD has had several of their helicopters. I know CHP's got a fixed wing above this as well. This is a joint effort between the agencies because of what's going on. Desmond, where are you and what are we looking at?
This is looking at Alameda and Temple. We're just a little bit to the north of there and may have some units that are just kind of starting to reposition. I mean, there's so many things to look at right now. It's honestly kind of hard to get a handle on this. I did kind of want to look at a distance because back where we were earlier, this is over at the 101 and Cesar Chavez, where they are still on the freeway, just making sure now, they're trying to kind of seal up this area, but as they do that, it might open up holes in other areas, and you see more and more of just a squadron of law enforcement arriving here, a mixture of LAPD and I believe CHP as well down there. A huge line of them here, stacking up near all of these off ramps. So it might just kind of be like a whack-a-mole situation if you just want to see how far protesters are willing to push this to try to get on lanes of the freeway, and how wide-reaching law enforcement can disperse and just kind of be all over the place to try to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, Des, thank you very much. And yeah, regardless, I mean, they were on the freeway, they're not anymore, but there are definitely traffic implications because of all of this, just simply having to move all of those emergency vehicles around. I want to get to KCAL News' Jeff Nguyen, who is down there. Jeff, there's a skirmish line. They are pushing these people. Has it been peaceful? What are you seeing?
Yeah, it's been very peaceful. We are on Spring Street right now, just to the east of Arcadia, and you can see this skirmish line right here. They're basically moving people to the east towards Olvera Street and Chinatown. You can see right now there are just a few dozen people as they are moving people. Earlier some of the folks were down at the corner of Arcadia and Main, so what they did was they moved them up north to Spring, and for Spring they have basically funneled people through this area and moving them towards Chinatown. You can see most of the people here are younger people. Some of them look like students. Some of them are conveying to us that they're concerned about all of these deportation plans, is that they are worried about the separation of families, is what they are saying to us. So right now you can see that the LAPD is holding this line right now. Earlier we saw about 100 people, but right now there are maybe 3 or 4 dozen people or so as they try to make sure that the freeway is cleared and that no one jumps on the freeway. For now, reporting live in downtown Los Angeles, Jeff Nguyen, KCAL News.
Jeff Nguyen, thank you very much. We're going to continue to monitor this situation. If the events warrant, we will jump back on the air. For now, though, for Jeff Nguyen and Desmond Shaw, I'm Mike Rogers. We'll see you for KCAL News at 8 o'clock.